Hi, I'm Chrystyne Olivieri, your Paleo Practitioner, and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to prepare spaghetti squash in place of your traditional regular pasta with a little bit of a meat sauce, a tomato-based meat sauce, with rather than ground beef, I'm going to use ground bison, and it's available everywhere. It's 1/10 the amount of saturated fat as ground beef and much, much lower in cholesterol. In fact, it's even lower in cholesterol than turkey. I'm also going to prepare it with a green vegetable because I always like to serve a green vegetable with just about every meal. So I'm going to steam some escarole and cook it in an Italian fashion with a little bit of white beans and a drizzle of olive oil. But before we get started, the most important thing, we got to tie up the hair. Okay, I'm ready. This is a spaghetti squash, and this is about the size that I usually buy. You can find smaller ones, like back here. These are smaller and probably about enough for 1 to possibly 2 people. But when you buy one about this size, it's enough for a family. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your raw spaghetti squash and you're going to poke it with holes. Because I like to microwave my spaghetti squash. I think it's the easiest thing. A lot of people will cut it in half this way, open it up and bake it. Don't go through that much trouble. Now for a spaghetti squash about this size, I'm going to microwave it 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. That's a total of 15 minutes, but each time I'm going to give it a little bit of a turn, okay? So let's get that started. All right, so we're going to take an onion. I'm taking a half of an onion because I only have big onions today. I'm going to peel it, and we're just going to cut it down and dice it into small pieces. Okay. Then we're going to take some garlic. I have 3 small cloves of garlic. Give them a little pop, get all the skins off. I'm going to put a little olive oil into the pan and heat that up. And this is going to go into our frying pan. So we're just going to saute a little bit of onions and some garlic. And that's going to start the base of our sauce. So after you've sauteed the onions and the garlic a little bit in a little bit of olive oil, I'm going to add my organic tomato sauce. Now, I like to buy an organic tomato sauce. You can use whatever you like. And we're just going to let this cook a little bit. I like to always take some fresh herbs out of my garden whenever possible. Of course, that's only possible in season. You usually can get some fresh herbs in your grocery store. If that's not possible, you can always use dried. Dried is my last choice. So let's bring some fresh herbs in today. Okay, so I'm just going to cut up a little bit of the basil and the parsley for a nice Italian flavor. Okay, this is the ground bison. We're going to take the ground bison and we're going to put it into the sauce. And then we're just going to put our spices into the sauce also. The herbs, the basil and the parsley. And this is going to simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes. The meat will all be cooked. Now I like to use Himalayan pink salt. I don't like iodized salt. I don't like white salt. So we use Himalayan pink salt. We're going to take a pinch and we're just going to put a very, very little bit of that in there. And I use organic black pepper already ground. You can use fresh pepper that's not ground, however you like to do it. Now while that's cooking, I'm going to go and get my very, very hot spaghetti squash out of the microwave. Now when the spaghetti squash comes out of the microwave, it's going to be really hot, so hold it with some mitts. You should be able to push it with your thumbs, and that's how you know that it's sufficiently cooked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise, like you would cut a watermelon. And you open it up. Now first we're going to take the seeds out of the middle. Like any squash, pumpkin, anything, it's going to be filled with a lot of seeds in the middle. So you want to kind of like get rid of those. I like to get all of this stuff out of the middle. Now we're going to make our spaghetti squash. I like to shred the spaghetti squash with a fork. So again, you hold it with a mitt and you just shred your spaghetti squash. Can you see how it's coming out in shreds? Kind of like spaghetti. And there's your spaghetti squash. Okay, so now I'm going to take my escarole and I'm going to clean it. So the best way to do that is you want to cut out the core. Okay, and we just get rid of this. Okay, and I'm going to start washing the escarole. And I usually will break the leaves in half. So just wash off each leaf, break it in half. Okay, so now we have our cleaned escarole all ready to go into the steamer. I've got the steamer preparing right over here, and as soon as it starts boiling, I'm going to put it in. You can steam it as long as you want. I usually like to steam it only for maybe about 5 to 6 minutes, because if you steam it much longer than that, you're going to lose a lot more vitamins in the water. So I like to keep it, and I like it to be a little bit crunchy. I don't like it to be really soft and mushy. Everybody likes it a different way. Okay, now my water's boiling. I'm going to take my washed escarole and put it in my steamer. Okay, so now what I want to do is I just popped open a can of white beans. I'm only going to use a little bit of white beans, okay? Beans are not really completely paleo, however, they're one of the few exceptions that I'll make because they are really good in certain recipes, but a small amount. So what I'll do is I'll pour this into a bowl and rinse them off so that they're not as starchy. And essentially I wash the beans. Okay, so we have, this is a whole can of beans. I'm only going to use a small handful in my escarole and beans. So now we're ready to plate. So we're going to take our spaghetti squash. See, it kind of looks like spaghetti a little bit. We're going to put some in a bowl. Then we're going to take some of our tomato sauce with our nice Bison. How wonderful does that look? Now we're going to plate the escarole. So we're going to take this beautiful vegetable. Now we're going to run just a little bit of olive oil all around it. And again, my Himalayan pink salt and a little bit of pepper. And just a few beans. Escarole and beans with a little spaghetti squash and Bison in a red tomato base. Enjoy.